Good afternoon, everyone. It's January the 21st, 2005. As you heard from my last videos that I put up with Julie, I want to bring a little bit more out about what we were talking about and why I brought it up because of the death and the cold. And as you can see, I'm still bundled up warm with my pajamas on and in my house because we're in a deep freeze still out there. And it's always a worry about who's out there at nighttime. And hopefully we don't find someone else dead in the morning. And with all the warnings and weather warnings going to make sure that people are safe. And again, the other day I saw another video, again from one of the shelters put out, one of the workers put it out again, that if you see someone in distress, a homeless person in distress, please call 311 or 911 if necessary. So this is why I brought Julie on. I wanted to let people understand why what it was like a bit for people living on the streets and when being chased from place to place by the police and whoever because they're not in the right place. It's a really hard life for them, and I'm grateful I can be bundled up in my apartment, nice and warm. And I'm grateful for the little bit that I have. Mind you, I sure don't live in Buckingham Palace, but at least I'm warm and I'm safe. And that's what Julie is now discovering, having her own place where she's warm, she's safe, she can go, and she doesn't have to sleep out at night. And then she learned a little bit from me, being able to not live with me, but pop in and out when it was really, really cold, or if it was extremely hot on a summer night, she was able to sleep under one of my fans. I let her come in and sleep that way as well. So she got the chance to see what, after 20 years on the street, she got a chance to see what stability was, or even had a little chance to see what it was like to have some kind of stability, and realizing that in her childhood, because of her childhood, a dysfunctional family, as she's talked about, she did not have any kind of stability. Now she's learning all about stability, and she's been thanking everyone for helping her. She and I have a great relationship with one another. We don't always crisscross paths, and if we do, it's usually on the bus because she's so busy, and I've got a very busy life as well. But I bring in Julie when I want to express something, and she's more than happy to talk about her experiences on the streets, and she's still concerned, and both of us are still concerned about the homeless as well, and what do we do about it. And like I said, I volunteer. I in every which way I can volunteer, and I always encourage other people to volunteer in whatever way they can. And Julie, well, I'd known her for so long, she was trustworthy to me. And even when I had my problem, I was in the hospital, she helped out. When I got out of the hospital, for sure, I could give her some money. I couldn't move because of my knee, but I give her money. She'd go to the grocery store, I give her a list, she'd pick up things that I needed off the list and then hand me the receipt and my change. So that was a bit of trustworthiness that I entrusted with her. And she held up her own end. And realizing there's different ways of helping people out as well. So that was a way of showing her some kind of trust. And sometimes it fails with homeless people. You try and show them this trust, and it doesn't work out. And I've had that happen to me on some occasions too. But Julie was a different story. She's turning out to be a success story, thankfully. As she's saying, being able to have her own place. She's got her support workers now. She's got the community to help her. So if something goes wrong, like the flood in the middle of the night, and being in the inner ankle up to water, up to her ankles in water, I should say, having been able to have someone to call for help, that was definitely helpful. And when I couldn't help, I knew I had to call somebody else to help. So it's working together with support and community in whatever we have to do. And it's about society. And it's what I'm seeing that's failing in society today. When I was growing up, society was here to help one another. We weren't supposed to be tearing each other apart like we're doing today, that I'm seeing on both in the United States and Canada, and this division between all of us. We were not divided in that way. It was like if you could help some person out in just some small way, like sometimes it was a small thing, like the stores would be closed and the outreach programs and stuff would be closed so that she couldn't eat a proper meal. So she'd buy a can of food, she'd come in. I said, fine, come in, cook. You've got my dishes here, you got my plates, whatever you need, help yourself and have a nice meal. And that was appreciated. Very simple thing. I'm not advising everybody take in homeless people because there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of professional help that these people need. And this is one of the things that I am trying to impress on people. The professional help that these people need are not there. Why are these supports not there? What is responsibility? As a society, it is our responsibility to ensure that these people who are very, very vulnerable, that were on the streets, need to be helped. It's our responsibility to help figure out how to look after these people. They cannot look after themselves. They're not in that position. But now with Julie, she has found herself in that position. Now she's learning how to take on the responsibility of looking after herself with supports. Now, why are these supports not in place? And as I said, I'm looking for the weak links in the chain and what's broken in the chain. And it's society is a trickle-down effect. We all have layers, but in each one of those layers is something that helps the most vulnerable that we have. And this is what bothers me again, and talking to Julie and talking to single mothers and everyone. One of the things that have us worried right now with the political aspect of what's going on in Canada, and this big slogan, "Axe attacks, axe attacks." Well, I'm going to try and explain what that, what the environmental rebate that we get back every 3 months does for us. Yes, it's expensive at the gas station pumps, but you do not understand that that tax actually helps people, because we get that. Well, for a single person, we get $140 every 3 months, quarterly, throughout the year. It's not a lot, guaranteed. We don't get a lot back. We often put out more than we get back, but it's something that we get back. So I'm going to explain. Okay, now I have 5 grandchildren. My daughter has a van. She has to use it constantly to take her 5 children everywhere she has to go. And it's not only to school, but she has children with special needs. These children have so many doctor's appointments and things throughout the week. She constantly needs the van. So it's very, very expensive in gas for her. And yes, we're adding on more tax. But the thing is, every 4 months, she gets at least something back. So at least that $140 can be re-put back in her tank to help her take her children to all the doctor's appointments that are needed. And even though she doesn't get it all back, going into the pot, not only does it help the environment, it also helps us. Because people like myself, seniors, low income, parents who are, I have a friend, single parent with her child, it's hard with the high cost of food today. So between the GST that month, every 4 months, and the environmental rebate that we get back, I can put the two of them together, and rather than have to always worry about going to the food bank, I can put those 2 checks together, go out and actually buy food for myself, put it in my freezer as well as my fridge, so that I can stockpile a bit of extra food, so I'm not running off to the food bank or have to every single time. So when you look at all the tax you're actually paying out, those extra few pennies for the gas, it does come back, trickle down through the system, to the very people who need it. So if they axe the tax for the environmental rebates that we get, that terrible tax rebates that we're talking about, that's also going to hit the most vulnerable in our society right now. So in a sense, the people who are kind of rich and paying out at the gas pumps right now, all that money is being stored up, but being siphoned back down to the very people who need it. And if that's gone, where do we get the money from? That $140 can mean I can have groceries, people can have groceries. So what are they going to replace with that $140 a month? The food banks are overwhelmed. They're having to give out less food now. We're seeing this. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's good for the environment, but it's also good for people. That's why I do agree with it. And I know it's going to be higher. I'm not sure just how far it's going up. I know it's going up, or it did go up it's going up the 1st of April, something like that, very shortly again. But for every money you put in, it's not necessary. It's always helping somebody less fortunate, rather than, so in one way you're paying at the pumps, rather than once a year, oh yeah, we have a food drive, yeah, I'll pay out $10 here, oh yeah, I'll donate some money here to charity and that. So in a way, you're actually helping to donate at the pumps to charity when it's siphoned back down through. So I wanted people to kind of understand that today as well. I know it's a long explanation, but it's the best way I can explain it. So I don't know where I'm going to come up with that $140, which I depend on as well. So I wanted people to understand that today, that these people are vulnerable. Yes, there's people like this on the streets, get it? Yes, they go spend it on drugs, unfortunately. But there's so many people that rely on it, that seniors that just want their food, the basic necessity of life, food. I mean, what more can you want? So you're really helping people by the taxes. I know they're unfair, I agree. But right now we're stuck in a position we have nothing else to replace the taxes. So unless some brilliant person can come up with something to replace taxes so that we can all live, or at least a living wage is what people were trying to do. And I'm going to go on to that too, about a living wage, because I recall before the Conservative government got in on the provincial level there, the Liberal government was trying to do that with an experiment with ODSP at the time for the disability checks. Instead of them getting about between $1,100 and $1,200, maybe, I think that was what I was getting about that when I was on ODSP, they were bumping it up. They were having a pilot project where they had so many people on a pilot project, and were giving them $1,500 a month to live off of. Well, when the Conservative government came in, they axed it. And it was going for 6 months, and they were actually seeing really good results. They were starting to see good results. So this is what really bothers me about every time the government changes, something changes, and when something may be possible for people to live, it gets axed right away, and then we're back to square one again. So I know I'm getting a little bit off the topic because of Julie and freezing to death and that, but I'm going to put up another video later on it. But this is something that was really bothering me, because with the changes that we're seeing right now on the governments between both Canada and the United States, what's going to happen with the homeless? They're so vulnerable. Are they going to axe more problems? Well, they'll definitely have more problems if they axe money that's already been put aside from the previous government that was in power to try and get them homes and things. So I will start off with one thing, but I just wanted to bring that into effect and make people realize what we're doing. We really need to start thinking right now. We're in a serious situation. The whole world is in a crisis right now, and this may be the only way out temporarily until, like I said, we can figure out some other way. But that was one thing that came up. Give people on ODSP, on welfare, a living wage. Give seniors a living wage that we can live off of as well. So all this has to come together somehow, and we have to realize that society needs to start caring about each other again, not fighting with each other. We need to find ways to help each other out. So I'm making a long video again today, but everyone, take care. Have a great day. Definitely watch your surroundings and be safe, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.